got to get people out of the pew to perform the gifting that's in them.
That's just some of the encouragement that you will hear momentarily from Bishop A. Glenn Brady. At the conclusion of this message, I will tell you how to obtain additional media and resources that will impact your life.
A philosophy. I was somebody hear what I'm saying. All right. So in the book of Numbers, I want you to look at it. God has given every church leader. How many pastors do we have in the audience? All the pastors. Just raise your hand. All the pastors. Okay. And then those that are perhaps working very closely with your pastor, either your pastor's wife or working very closely with them. Good. Okay. God has given gifts to each of you who are church leaders. All right? Let's look at this. Go to the book of Numbers, chapter number 8. Numbers, chapter number 8. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. All right? Numbers, chapter number 8. Now, let me give you background and let me show you with you where I'm going. I can't spend a lot of time in exegesis this particular chapter. But what has happened here is this, and while I remember, please put your phones on vibrate so that we will not disturb. If Jesus calls you, he'll just call you and answer. You can answer him. But put your phones on vibrate or silence. Now, where we're at here in this particular passage of Scripture, do you remember when Israel was in Egypt and the Lord said, I'm going to set my people free. And the last plague that hit Egypt, the Lord said, I'm going to kill all of the firstborn in the land of Egypt. Remember that? Yeah. Now, when the Lord made that statement, stay with me, it was a generalization that I'm going to kill every firstborn in Israel. Now, when he said that also included the firstborn of the people of God. The firstborn of the Israelites. The Hebrews. All right? I'm going to kill all the firstborn. Now, to avert the judgment, the Lord said, if you get all of your people in a house, and if you would put the blood on the doorpost, when the death angel comes by, because the death angel doesn't know the difference between who's the Hebrew or who's the Egyptian or whatever, but the death angel has the instructions. When he sees the blood, he'll pass over that particular house. Stay with me. Now, that means Moses had to call all of the leaders, get everybody in the house. Get everybody in the house. Because when the death angel comes, judgment comes, the only way you can be saved is if you're in the house with the blood. Now, I don't have time to preach that right now, but we need to go back to some blood preaching. Hallelujah. Yes. Somebody look at somebody saying the blood still works. Hallelujah. I said the blood still works. I cannot get to the barber and then I forget that the blood still works. Hallelujah. Just last Sunday, we anointed and ask God, as we asked the Lord to cover all of our students with the blood of Christ as they went back to school. But not just our students, our educators, bus drivers, those who are working in the school system. Everybody needs prayer nowadays. Not only that, a couple Sundays ago, I still blessed new vehicles. When the saints get new vehicles, we have a day that we have all the saints line up. I go outside. I think the last time we blessed over 20-some cars of people who just got new cars or acquired new vehicles. Come on now. forget what got me through. And when we anointed, and I anointed each car and prayed a prayer, assigned an angel to that car, and asked the Lord, cover this with the blood of Jesus. Keep it from accidents. Keep it from theft. Keep it from a drunk driver. I wish somebody hear me. Hallelujah. Put a covering over this car. Keep the drivers vigilant. Keep them woke. You know, Christmas, sometimes you had fallen asleep at the wheel, and thank God the angel took over while you were asleep. I wish I had a witness up in here. And then when you finally woke up, you got scared realizing I was asleep. And what happened? You hit the side of the road and it woke you up. But while you were asleep, the angel Let me get back on point. Okay, so when the death angel passed, all of those that were first born in Israel were saved. Now, where we come to our scripture here in Numbers chapter 8, the Lord says, all right, it was me. It's time for you to pay me back. I spared all of the firstborn of Israel. Now it's time for you to pay me back. And the Lord said, to pay me back, I'm going to take one of the tribes and I'm going to use them exclusively for the work of the ministry. Those were the Levites. Come on, glory to God. I hope you've been blessed by this. Because I'm getting back to these gifts. You see these beautiful gifts up here? Oh, these are nice gifts too. You know, when you got gifts like this, sometimes people don't even want to open them because they look so nice. Sometimes they come to church and look so nice. New hats and new hairstyles. Sometimes new hair. Hello, somebody. So the Lord said, to pay me back, I want the Levites. Now look here. Verse number 19, chapter 8, verse 18. Okay, Numbers chapter 8, verse number 18. And I got to hurry on because I got so much to give you. You know, I can teach all day. Brother Robertson, Elder Robertson, he said, you said last night you need to say, he said, I could have sat here and heard you and just kept on teaching. Is that what you said? Now don't encourage me now. Hallelujah. My wife and I, we used to do this kind of teaching in England and Germany and England. They were so hungry for the Lord. We called them abundant life seminars. We would start something like 9 o'clock in the morning and just her and I would teach all day to like 4 or 5 o'clock. And the people still would want more. There's a dearth in the land for good solid teaching. Hallelujah. Well, I feel like teaching this morning. We got a whole lot of hype for shouting, but somebody give us some word because that's what we need now. And I'm telling you this, you have churches that have a good, strong word teaching ministry. Those are the churches that are growing. Okay? Now, let me get back on point. Help me go on point. You help me, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
Don't encourage me when I get off point. Because he's been up here encouraging me. Go ahead and preach. All right, verse number 18. Chapter 8 of Numbers, verse 18. Come on, quickly. Please read. Go back one more to verse 17 so you can get the background of just what I said. Verse number 17. Come on, what does it say? For all the firstborn of the children of Israel are. The Lord said, I spare all the firstborn. They're mine. Keep reading. Come on. Both man and beast, on the day that I smote every firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified them for myself. Come on, verse number 18. And I have taken the Levites for. So instead of all of the firstborn, I am getting my debt paid by taking the Levites. Now, why Levites? And I don't have time to get into this, but you remember when Moses came down from the mountain and the people were acting a fool, worshiping other idols, and the Lord said, who's on the Lord's side? And what tribe came for? The Levites. Now, I don't know if that's the real reason, but it sounds pretty good to me. All right. And my question to you this morning, who's on the Lord's side? Now, what does he do? What does he do? What does he do? The Levites, the Lord said, belong to me. The Levites paid the debt that all of the firstborn belonged to God. But instead of all of the firstborn that were saved, he said, give me the Levites. Next verse. Let me show you something here. Next verse. Verse number 19. Verse number 19. What does the Bible say? Now, I've got the Levites, but I am now giving the Levites as a what? As a what? Look at all these beautiful gifts we got up here. And guess what? You got gifts in your church that have been given to you. 19, let's look at it again. And I have given the Levites as a gift to Aaron and to his sons from among the children of Israel to do the service of the children of Israel in the tabernacle of the congregation and to make an atonement for the children of Israel. All right, I got to stop there. Remember, Aaron was chosen to be the priest, the high priest. The sons of Aaron were to assist him. Originally, there were like 4, but 2 of them acted a fool, and the Lord killed them. Now, listen. God realized that the work of ministry could not be done just by Aaron and his sons alone. We got to get out of our mind that only we are the ones called to do ministry. And what happened, the Lord envisioned, he knew there was going to be a tabernacle. Can you see can you see Aaron and his sons out there trying to handle the church, building up the tabernacle, taking it down, handling all that? Can you see they're the ones singing, they're the ones ushering, they're the ones that the doorkeepers, they kill themselves. And guess what? We'll kill ourselves as leaders if we feel as if we are to do all the work. Come on down, come on. Because we've got gifts. Look at somebody and say, you're a gift. You listen, I shared with you last night the growth of the church here at New Bethel. Stay with me. Our board of directors, our executive board, is not comprised of just deacons, like most church boards. Our board is comprised of a representation of the congregation, which means we've got women, youth, married, couples, elders, deacons, because when I'm making a decision as a leader, I want to have a perspective from everybody in the congregation. If you got on your board are old deacons ready, they got one foot in the grave and the others on the banana people. They only want programs to keep them alive. Stay safe. But you got a congregation of people who are filled and anxious and desire to move forward. Am I talking to somebody out there? Now what I'm getting at is, I recognize God is bringing people in. I don't wait that some individuals have to be in the church for 5, 10 years before they're promoted. I need help today. So as people are coming in, they got to go through a new members class, and that's how long they can sit and learn. And listen, you don't come here and just sit. You got to get busy. That's right. You got to get busy. God's bringing you people in. You got to use them for the kingdom. And something else here. Chapter 11, go down to verse number 16. Verse 14. Again, showing you the need to utilize people in your ministries.
Jesus.
Go to praise. See, that does not bother me. Sometimes I'm teaching and a person has a word that is spoken to them and they get to shout and praising God. Listen, that does not upset me. Go ahead and praise Him. I'd rather have you praise Him. I'm telling you, God sent this lesson for some of us to move to the next level. And I hope to heal some paradigms and thinkings. Praise God, sorry. Numbers, very quickly, Numbers chapter 11. It got to the point where Moses, now we skip now, we're at Moses now. He could not carry on the activities by himself. It was killing him. Don't you know? Stress, and it happens, true pastors, they have a shepherd's heart. Stress will take you out of here.
Yes, sir.
Worrying about people.
Yes, sir.
At some point, you just got to let it go and make sure others do the job.
Right.
Now, I'm a person, I came under Bishop Wagner. He personified the spirit of excellence. So, of course, as a son, I bring that same spirit with me. Now, the problem is, sometimes you want perfection so bad that when just a little thing is out of place, it'll take you off.
Yeah, come on now.
Like somebody not turning the lights on right for some reason. But at some point, you gotta just give it over and let it go, so you can be here more. Look very quickly. Numbers chapter 11, verse number 14. Moses told the Lord this. Verse number 14. Come on, what does the Bible say? I'm not able to bear all this people alone because it is too heavy for me. Great God Almighty. As a leader, you've got to understand your limitations. And there's some things you have got to let go and let others, with their expertise, handle certain issues. When we grew up in the church a long time ago, since I'm 60 years old, everything was taken to the pastor. What kind of car? Let's see what the pastor says. Who should I take as a date we'll see what the pastor says. Say with me, I'm going somewhere. And then sometimes there was some real serious issues, maybe some marriage issues that was going on in the home and the family. Let's take it to the pastor. Pastor, while he's a spiritual person, might not have the skill in marital counseling. And all we do is, pastors say, well, let's just pray about it. No, we got to pray about it, but we need some professionals. We need those that have the gifting to handle those type of issues. And as a pastor, you cannot feel as if you're doing less of a job by referring somebody to somebody else who has the skill and the ability to handle it. When we go to the doctor, and we all have a general practitioner, if they find a spot that the doctor does not handle it himself, he refers you to a specialist. Why can't we do the same thing in the church and stop feeling as if we are the only one that can handle in verse number 15 said, if thou deal thus with me, kill me, I pray thee, out of hand, if I found favor in thy sight, and let me not see my wretchedness. Moses was saying, listen, if you don't do something, that old Moses is going to come out. Because these people are going to make me go back to my old self. What was his old self? Remember, Moses killed somebody. Oh, we got some murderers up in our churches. In fact, I better check your purses right now. Hallelujah. Moses says, Lord, I don't want to go back, but these people keep pressing me, they keep pressing me. I need some help, and I'd rather you kill me for me to go back to that old person that I was. That old somebody. Look at how the Lord handled it. Verse number 16, verse 16, come on, please read, please read. Lord said unto Moses, gather unto me, gather unto who? Me. God says, don't you do it, gather them to me. 70 people. See, sometimes we get that scripture out of place. God said, gather them unto me. That's right. Look, look, look. And the Lord said to Moses, gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be the elders of the people and officers over them, and bring them under the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee. Right. Verse number 17. Come on, what does the Bible say? God said, I will come down and talk with thee. See, God only talks to the leader. If the Lord is talking to somebody in the pew, if you have not heard it, it's out of order. God speaks to the leader. Now, he'll use other people to give a prophetic word. Not individuals to do that. But in your spirit as a leader, you will sanction this is of God. And if you got any kind of spirit of the Lord, you can discern when it's a word from God or if it's a word from somebody's stomach. Their belly. Okay, help me. Elder, I think next year I'm going to give myself 2 hours to teach. Maybe 3 hours. I don't know. Okay, stay with me. And here it is, last verse number 17. Verse number 17. Come on, please read. And I will come down and talk with thee there, and I will take of the Spirit which is upon thee, not the Lord's Spirit. You're the leader. You're saying you cannot handle this by yourself. I know what I put in you. Now, I'm going to take, not my spirit, I'm going to take your spirit and then put it on the men that are around you, so that now you have help to do what I've called you to do. You got people in your congregation that reflects your spirit. And the problem is, what is your spirit? Normally a church will reflect the spirit of the leadership. You got a mean pastor, a mean first lady, normally that will trickle down and reflect through your congregation. Just stay with me. If you got leaders that are judgmental, then it will reflect through the congregation. You show me a growing church, I'll show you a loving church. You show me a stagnant church, you show me a judgmental church. And sometimes we have forgotten where God's brought us from. Am I helping somebody today? Now, let me move forward here. The great tragedy, I'm sorry, because since I'm saying God has given you gifts, the question is then, what kind of gifts do you have in your church, your congregation? Again, this is a pew, these are gifts. The theme of the conference is from the pew to performance. Those gifts cannot perform as long as they're still wrapped up on the pew. And instead of these gifts, I want you to visualize people in your congregation. See them with a bore. And the reason why they're a gift, God has given them to you, just like he said, I've given the Levites to Aaron. Now the question is, what kind of gifts then do you have? The great tragedy is that far too many Christians are either not involved or not properly involved in any service for Christ of his church. One of my favorite authors, I know you've heard of Rick Warren and some others, and of course Maxwell. One of my favorite authors is Aubrey Malphurs. He's a professor at University, I think, in Texas, Dallas Theological School. He's written several books. These are just a few of the books that he has written. Building Leaders is one. Being Leaders is another. These are not necessarily easy read. It means you got to study, work with him. Sometimes we want to do the easy route. But he has excellent principles. This was one of my favorite, developing a vision for ministry in the 21st century. Strategic planning, a new model for church and ministry leaders. He's written all these books. And this is another one that I'm taking some excerpts from today. And again, when you're teaching like this and you're using somebody else, make sure you reference who they are. Don't let us think that you came up with this idea and all you did was copy it out of Google. He wrote this book. It's entitled Planning Growing Churches in the 21st Century. Very comprehensive. But I wanted to take something out of one of the sections that he wrote that he entitled that particular chapter, Every Member a Minister. Stop seeking to a title for minister and recognize it's a service. Amen. When I have conferences like we got our pastor here from Hawaii, Pastor Deidre Conley, one of the pastors of our churches in Hawaii. Her and her husband are doing a great job sacrificing. When we have conferences, we're going to have one in October. You know what? On the badges, I don't put any titles of people. We are all just brothers and sisters. I'm talking about bishops, everybody. If you can't take somebody calling you by your name, why'd your mama call you that? The title does not make us. The title represents our assignment. So you got to start seeing that everybody is a minister, because minister actually means servant.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So he says the great tragedy is that far too many Christians are not involved or not properly involved in any service for Christ and his church. We're talking about from the pew to performance. And I think we all are in that state, even with all the teaching that I do, and I will pull a person and push a person to the point that they almost get angry at me. But the bottom line is you still cannot override a person's will. You know, it's just like some children. You can talk to them until you get blue in the face. But they're still going to do what they want to do. So let's examine some things. Why is it that so many people are uninvolved in the ministries of the churches? Now, I don't have time to go through all of the things that are listed, but I do want to share something that I feel that is very pertinent today. Okay. First of all, look at this, and I'm sure you can relate. Pareto's principle. Pareto's principle is named after the man who first discovered and described the 80-20 effect. Vilfredo Pareto, from 1848 to 1923, was an Italian economist. And Pareto first observed the 80-20 principle when researching wealth and income distribution in 19th century Italy. How does it relate to the church? 80% of the work in giving in the church as a whole is done by 20% of the people. Now, for me, I dispel that. I'm not trying to work under that thought. Because it's my job to get everybody involved. You see what I'm saying? But this is the rule that is used in teaching, in church leadership, and in church growth, that when you look at the giving, and of course this represents nominal churches, everybody. When you look at people who are working, 20% of the people are doing the vast majority of the work and the giving. Do I have a witness out there? That becomes so frustrating. Why is it that, now especially for us, many of us who have received the Holy Spirit, our life is dedicated to God. Why is it we cannot motivate people to do more than just come and sit? And today, we're just trying to get people to church to sit. Not let them work, we just want to come. Because our society today is so different than even when we were growing up. Many of us were growing up. I shared yesterday how the millennials, those between the ages of about 20 and 35, the millennials now are the largest segment in the United States. Thanks be to God, we've been blessed because the appeal of the ministry here has reached out specifically to the millennials. Here's Sister Lakeisha. You'll hear from her in a minute. Just keep, she got a baby. Keep that baby with the bottle in his mouth. She heads our young adult, we call them Hunger for More, right now, our young adult ministry. We did something totally out of the box earlier this year. On a Sunday service, on a Sunday, we shut down the church.
Yes, sir.
I said on a Sunday. It was not because there was a rain, storm, or no electricity. We planned to shut down the church on a Sunday. And what I did, I had a meeting with the millennials, 20 to 35, and I said, I want you to develop a program. I gave it to them to assign. See, you got gifts in your church. And you cannot think from last night, you know it all. You are not the only one that knows it. In fact, sometimes you don't know anything. I'm sorry, you don't know nothing. I said, develop the, well, she gave the baby. Stand up, said, this is Sister Lakeisha Harvey. She used to be our office manager, got married, had babies, so she left me. But that was a blessing because she made room for another office manager, who got Sister Noelle Swinton, and she's doing a fantastic job. You gotta be able to see when God moves people, He got somebody to take their place. As you move to another level. Sometimes you're holding up the process, trying to stay in something that God has no longer given you the anointing for. Now, at one day you was a good Sunday school teacher. 20 years ago. That's when they had flannel grounds. You remember flannel grounds? We'd be there and Sister Mamie Cheatham would put the lambs on the flannel graph. See, some of these young people even know what I'm talking about the flannel graph. It was a specific device in Christian education and teaching that you would put cutouts and put it up there, and they wouldn't fall. We would sit there and say, oh, wow. She would say, see, Mary? See the lambs? And we'd say, wow, look at that. Now, 20 years ago, that was fantastic when you did that as a teacher. The problem is that was 20 years ago. You're trying to use the same method now with these kids coming along, and they're talking to somebody in China on their cell phone. Right. And you're talking about, see, Mary? And they're telling you, crazy? I'm talking about kindergartners. In fact, you gotta get them to tell you how to turn your laptop on. See, you missed your time. You had your time, but it was now for you to move to another level. But you were so fearful to go from a comfort zone that you were in. But when you stay there, you're holding up somebody else that God has for that position now. Amen. I was off point. You let me go off point. What'd you say? No, you wasn't. So I told them to gather all the millennials. So about 3 months before, we had a big meeting in the church with all the millennials. I set up a council of young people, different ages, within that 20 to 35 group. And I said, on this particular Sunday in May, the last Sunday, we're going to shut the church down. And what I want you to do is devise a program. I'm not going to do it. I want you to devise a program that we divide our congregation and go to like 7 or 8 different spots on a Sunday morning and just share some love with people. We shut down the church. They organized it. And we went to 7 different, what were some of the locations we went to? Get our microphone right quick. Some of the locations. I didn't plan this. They group planned it. Go ahead.
We went to the plaza.
The plaza is a downtown area where there's a fountain and people gather around on Sunday morning just to do a stroll.
We went to a shopping center over in Missouri called The Landing.
It's a popular urban type plaza area.
We went to a hospice.
We went to a hospice location where people are there with their loved ones when they're getting ready to make transition.
Went to the Kaufman Stadium.
We had a tailgate at the Royals baseball game. And at the tailgate, we said, here's a free hot dog for some prayer. Praying for people. And a special testimony. A couple of the saints were there and they found this woman and they went to her and the woman said, oh, can you pray for me? I was just discovered with a lump and I got to go to the doctor and I'm believing God is not going to show any cancer. Will you pray? And all the saints in the parking lot of the Royal Stadium surrounded her. I anointed and prayed for her. And next week she called and said, I got to thank you because when the report came back, there was no cancer. Somebody put a praise on that. I said, put a praise on that. Glory, glory, glory. All of this not in the church because real ministry's outside, not in here. And just a couple others.
We went to a location up north. It's called Summer Rosa. We just had so many different locations.
We went to a salon. We went to a hair salon. We went to a nursing home. We even had church. We gathered, I was in a group, we gathered on the bus line and had church on the bus as people were going back and forth. We were singing ministers because I was believing God that we were going to find souls that want to be baptized and filled with the Holy Ghost. And we ended up baptizing that weekend 10 to 12 people in Jesus' name. Not in the church, but from the street. Hallelujah. And people in the streets, they were laying hands. My wife and others laying hands. They were falling out, filling with me, filled with the Holy Ghost on the streets. Thank you. It's getting more people involved. And then they told me where to go. I said, now you tell me which place you want me to attend. Because I gave them the authority. Don't be afraid to let somebody implement a program of God. And when it was all said and done, it was a glorious occasion. It made the news. They had the news down watching us on a Sunday morning, and the comments was, here's a church having service outside their walls on a Sunday morning. Now, leaders, I know your mind, well, how about the offering? How about the tithes? Because we talking real. We normally relate coming to church for people to give. One of the things that we've implemented, and you see in your packet, we'll talk about it, we have a program called Givelify. Givelify allows individuals to give from their phones. So 20 to 25% of our giving comes from Givelify. As you see it, got the picture of the new church, me. Once you put in your information once, it's there. Millennials nowadays don't carry checkbooks. They don't even carry cash. Everything is done electronically. Stay with me. So when our members are paid on Friday, they don't wait till Sunday to give. Right there, they give their tithes for the week on a Friday as soon as it's in their check, and their bank account. Oh, somebody hear me? One of the saints, here's Chrissy. Her husband, stand up, Chrissy. I'm watching my time because we got Elder Thomas is in the house from Columbus, Ohio. Woo, we don't have a time up in here. I'm talking about worship. Glory to God. Chrissy and her husband were blessed. In fact, they came off of one cruise and they won't be here tomorrow because they get ready to go on another cruise. No. Her husband is a veteran and had put in several years ago about some benefits that he felt he deserved. And as you know, sometimes the government fights. Tooth and nail. And we had a prophetic word that somebody said they saw a flood coming from the cross into the congregation. And it was a sign of blessings coming. Ooh, since that was just a few weeks ago, saints have been just calling me about the blessings coming in their lives. New jobs, new promotions, new cars, unexpected financial blessings. Well, it was that same week, I'm getting a text as I, as a pastor, give out my cell phone number to the saints. Now I tell the saints, now I do that in case there's an emergency. I tell them I prefer you text me because I might be in a meeting. But I also tell them, if you got a dream or vision at 2 o'clock in the morning, just write it down and then text me or call me the next morning. Don't be waking up and talking about, I saw something come in my room. Just write it down and we'll see what you saw in the morning. So about 3 o'clock in the morning, I get a text from my husband. And then you hear that ding, ding, oh man. So of course, at that time of morning, I'm thinking something tragic has happened. Don't you hate those midnight calls? Somebody died, somebody was in an accident, something happened. So immediately I jumped up and got to the phone that was right there by my bedside. And her husband said, this is like 3 in the morning, Pastor, we just got a text that the government has honored our request, and in our account, and I can't tell you the amount, but overnight, 5 figures was put in our account. When the man with 0 in your account, wake up in the morning and you got 5 figures. Don't tell me God cannot do the impossible. Somebody say, Lord, let that be me tonight. Hallelujah. And you just can't say it, but I believe faith comes by hearing. God wants to do something for some of us, but we don't feel our faith with expectation. Hallelujah. See, you're supposed to be getting me on the point here. Hallelujah. Listen, that was at 3 o'clock in the morning. And the reason why I know what their blessing was, because I can't even recall whether he told me, but at 3:20, they had already, because I got another ding, they had already given their tithes at 3:20 in the morning and paid off their pledge that they made for the new building. I'm like, oh, hallelujah. And when you're faithful, God will be faithful to you. When you're told when you're too stingy, you can't be blessed. Hallelujah. And what did I say last night? Don't become a hater. You gotta check your motives. When you hear someone else is being blessed, rejoice with them. Don't get upset because it wasn't you. That's the problem. I feel the Lord is telling somebody, look for your miracle. Look for your miracle. Tell somebody, look for your miracle. God has not forgotten you. He knows what you're going through. But if you will just look for your miracle. I'm not trying to psych somebody out. I'm trying for you to get to the place where you can expect what God wants to do in your life. You shall not have That's why we need teaching, not just to get a person to emote. They have a sound soul trained line. And when the line is finished, you still broke. What we need is some word, and at the end, you'll be blessed. She's standing back there. Before I know she won't start hollering, but she's one of the leading realtors. And there was a time it looked like she didn't know how she was going to make it, but we prayed and said, stick it out. And she's a single parent, got 2 beautiful kids, and now she's one of the leading realtors in the city. I love it every time she comes out of the home. Come on, people who were faithful, giving time even when they didn't have a whole lot, and they still trusting God. If you're faithful with God, He'll be faithful with you. in His Word. Hallelujah. So, I got about 15 more minutes. Because I am pastor, I like going for it. But I still try to be bound by my word. And somebody being blessed today. These boxes we have here, as you see, they're open. That means, see, to move from the pew to performance, you got to leave the pew and step into your ministry. These boxes, if you notice, are open. They're not sitting up here on the pew. For your ministry to be blessed, you got to get people out of the pew to perform the gifting that's in them. Stop looking. You know, you got nice, beautiful boxes. Honey, the outside means absolutely nothing. The gift is on the inside. Sometimes God's got to wreck some of us on the outside to get to the essence of our inside. Oh. See, when we're wrecked on the outside, God said, take that paper off. That is not about you. Now, in our ministry, we always certainly represent a Christian modesty. But over the years, especially since pastoring, I've learned people don't dress up to come to church for God. People dress up for each other to show off what they have to each other. They're not dressing up for God. But it's people about spiritual gifts, but that's all they know to do. They expect people to respond based on information alone. Most pastors don't know how to devise a system to help them discover their gifts and implement them in ministry. They have a good biblical theology of the gifts, but lack a practical theology. So you're saying people have got gifts, and we hear that every Sunday throughout the teaching, but there's no follow-up. How do you get your gift activated? Right. And that's why I get with the millennials. People have got gifts, but if you don't give them the opportunity to be blessed and to use their gifts, and again, it gets back to the lesson last night. I know who I am. So if a person says, God is using me, and I see this happening, I'm not going to be intimidated by them. I know who I am. In this ministry, and they'll tell you, I encourage people to go out and establish their personal ministries. So many do their personal ministries with their own names. I just say you have to always make sure you keep under the covering. That's for your own safety. Come on now. When you're out of the covering, then you're vulnerable. But when you got the covering of the house, go out and establish your ministry. We got one sister, beautiful ministry called the Love Project. Another one, they started something, a hot dog and a prayer in the housing areas. Others got their own radio programs. That's not New Bethel's ministry. That's their ministry that I've encouraged them to do what God's put in you. God, I know I'm still a pastor. And the moment they think they don't need a pastor, I'm there to remind them. Amen. Now, with children, you do have to remind them every now and then who is the pastor. Amen. So, let's see here very quickly. I'm moving on here. Have you been blessed today? Now, there's a need then. Again, the author gives several, but I want to highlight something specific. And let me just say this. All of the PowerPoint we will make available to you, either through our website or we'll send out a constant contact with a link that you can pull down all of the PowerPoint presentations that we've done. Somebody say amen. But I still encourage you to keep your own personal notes so that you can correspond with the PowerPoint. No, okay. The need for personal value assessment. Someone say personal value assessment. The author talked about people in the pew need to feel significance. They need to feel as if they are significant. If they feel not significance in the church, then they'll find it in something else, either a hobby, a sports, something else. But you gotta make people feel significant.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Because regardless of their background, whether they're homeless or come from the governor's mansion, everybody has to feel significant. Significance means their self-worth. So regardless of a person coming in, you got to build up their self-worth. Because many people have been torn down through their lives. Even by their own family. You'll never be anything. You're just like your daddy. And oh, your mom was fast just like you. And then you'll never amount to anything. And God forbid we get teachers who do not recognize the qualities that their kids have. They try to lump everybody in the same category. All Mexicans are rapists and murderers, and we need to build a wall and keep all Mexicans out. I didn't say who said that, I just said that. So, value assessment. In the value assessment, you have to know who you are. This is now relating with people in the pew. I dealt with us as leaders yesterday. You got to get people to know who they are. And then after know who they are, what's this word? Liking who you are. You got to like who you are. All of us are unique.
Yes, sir.
And once you understand who you are, like who you are. Stop trying to be the copycat of somebody else. Just because they get a response for how they are, that's their character. You be who you are. I don't have time to tell you the story a bishop told me once, but it molded me in who I am. I did not try to emulate Bishop's particular homiletical style of preaching. That's where most preachers try to do, copy his style. I was there at the 6 o'clock praying saying, God, give me his spirit. Then if you have that spirit, God will use you through who you are in your personality. Probably somebody here. Your ministry. Because everybody doesn't preach the same. And don't be fooled or intimidated that you got to be like somebody else. Who, like everybody else does. You're not a hooper, so stop trying. Boom, when you hit the mic and get your chocolate. Then after knowing who you are, liking who you are, then you've got to be who you are. Now, my time's about up, and I do want to even suggest some questions if we can, because we do have a 15-minute break. Our next session is like I said, starts at 11. And we got the rabbi in our midst, the worshiper. And we also got the CDC president in our midst. Amen. Now, the author talks about doing or having available an assessment for your members to recognize things within them. And he lists these categories. Areas to assess the spiritual gifts that a person has. Number 2, passion. Somebody say passion. When a person asks me, Pastor, I don't know where my ministry is, my next question to them is, where is your passion? What do you enjoy doing? What is your heart? Sometimes you might sing in the choir and they get you upset. I'm getting out of the choir. Then you go home and that passion of singing overcomes you that you get right back in the choir. Amen. Or whatever the ministry is. Because passion is your fuel to bring the gifts out in you. If you got 2 kids and you can't wait to get those kids on the bus into school, and then when they're finished, get them to the after school program, and then when they come home, put them to bed. Now, if you have that with 2 kids, you should not volunteer for the children's church ministry. That is not your passion. Because if you can't handle 2, what are you going to do with 18 of them rascals running around? And before you know it, you can snatch one of them up. Oh, now we got to fight in the church. Passion is the fuel that drives you to your ministry. Somebody say amen. Temperament, and I'm going to get very quickly, I know I'm about over. She's doing a very good job with letting me know my time. But I think she still wants us to keep a job. Hallelujah. She's going to be teaching, and I'm going to have her the green cards at her class. Let me get back here. Okay. Temperament. Lakeisha not only is involved in so many things, one of her skills is temperament assessment. Just very quickly, a couple of minutes, because I know it's difficult. Just share what temperament assessment is, dealing with the 4, and how that helps people even with ministry.
Even with pastors been speaking on, it's been such a blessing and confirmation for what I do. One of the theories that I've been studying, he's been teaching on what he calls the great omission from the great commission. And what that's about is the fact that Christian ministries in the church, we have a system and a structure in place to teach us about who God is. But we very seldom have a system or structure in place to teach us about who God created us to be. And that's exactly what temperament training does, and it's also exactly what Pastor is talking about. So there are 4 different temperament types. The assessment teaches you what your most dominant temperament traits are. Once you learn your temperament or the temperament of anyone around you, you know them for forever. Companies will hire a personality consultant, and that's okay. But it's not long-standing knowledge because personalities change over time. But your temperament is how God created you, and it will never change. So if you know your strengths and areas of opportunity that are connected to your temperament type, then you will know yourself forever and those with whom you serve.
So Keisha just very quickly summarized the 4 basic temperament types and what each type represents as quickly as you can.
Absolutely. There are 4 different types, like I mentioned. Choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic, and melancholy. Choleric individuals are natural-born leaders. They're time-oriented. They're individuals who are very decisive. They're very dynamic. They're often pastors. But they're individuals who are really, really good at making things happen because they are dynamic. Sanguines are individuals who are considered life of the party people type people, and one of their main strengths is charisma. And they're really, really amazing at having a heart for volunteerism. So if you walk into the ministry and you see somebody that's just like blah all the time, that's intentional. Because if they're doing what God has called them to do while they have your attention, they're going to glorify the Lord in that. Yes. There are individuals that are considered phlegmatic. Phlegmatics are the cool, calm, balanced individuals. They don't like to rock the boat. There are people that can just walk into a room and all of a sudden the room will just calm from their presence being there. Then you have individuals that fall under the melancholy temperament type. Those are the really, really deep thinkers, really analytical. If you've ever found yourself in a book that you just can't put down, more than likely a melancholy wrote that book. Or if you're staring at a piece of artwork that you just can't walk away from, more than likely a Melancholic created that piece of art. Now the thing about the temperaments is they fit in together so perfectly.
Yes.
What I've learned is, because I'm a choleric, I think that I know everything. And I think that I'm supposed to be the person to always do everything. But since I know that cholerics think that they know everything, what I've learned to do is really pull on the thoughts of a melancholic who takes time to sit back and observe. So what I've learned to do is, if I come up with an idea, I'll give it to a melancholic, ask them to think it out, they make it better, and then tell me how to do it, because I'm the doer, they're the thinker.
Come on, give God a praise. That is her field of study, and she actually goes to churches and businesses and does seminars and helping to identify those in your congregation that fits within those temperaments. Do you remember a few minutes ago I said, I gave it over to them, I got the idea, gave it over to them. I told them, you tell me even where you want me, but I'm a doer. You see what I'm saying? So when you have a team, and our problem is we want everybody to be the same like us. But that's not where our strength is. Our strength is in our diversity. You get somebody to supplement what you don't have. And here's my last two areas: leadership, areas to assess, and ministry cycle. Now what does that mean? Ministries, like life, take on cycles. Some born, some grow, some mature, and then some die. There's certain people you have to know your calling. Do you fit in a church that's growing, one that's being birthed, or are you a resurrection type leader to go into some place that's dead and revise it? So all of those things of assessment help you to understand who you are. Come on, somebody give God a praise today.
We pray that you were blessed and encouraged by this message. To receive additional information about Bishop A. Glenn Brady and the New Bethel Church, log on to www.newbethelkc.org or call the church office at 913-281-2002. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at New Bethel KC. Until next time, be blessed.